everyone, you've got TheArleos here, and today we are making a guide on leveling up blacksmithing. So we're starting in the Isle of Dorn in the main city of Dornogal. So I happen to be doing it with an alt right now because I've already leveled it up on my main, but we're going to start from 0 to show everyone what to do. First things first, you're going to have to pick up the profession. Actually, before that, I am sitting outside the crafter's hall here, next to the fissure, if you see on the map right now. And we're going to enter here. We're going to pick up their quest really quickly. So Roldira here has a quest that gets us started with a few materials. I'm going to accept that. Walk right across here, talk to this dude for the crafting orders. Now you know where the crafting order table is. I'm going to go back across. I'm going to get a satchel of ore to help with leveling up my mining. And complete. That just is one because I'm a tailor. So in this bag, we are going to have 350 artisans acuity, which is the main thing that I'm after for the purpose of this guide. We're now going to make our way to the blacksmithing trainer. Kind of in the center of Dornogal. We're in the bottom west corner. Alright, so we've got a blacksmithing trainer, and we are going to train blacksmithing. And by default, we get a few little patterns from them. So for the purpose of this guide, I am going to be using the vendor patterns. I'm not going to be buying any off the auction house. And then you're going to have to decide which path you'd like to choose as a blacksmith. So let us get started here. Vendor right next to us, we've got Borgos, the blacksmithing supplier. He's going to sell Echoing Flux. This is probably the cheapest you can get it, unless you've got high reputation somewhere else. I'll put a full material list up for what it's going to cost us here. I'm just buying 500 to get myself started. So here we go. First crafts. Oh, and I do need a blacksmithing hammer. Where is my blacksmithing hammer? I sold all my stuff and apparently got rid of my blacksmithing hammer. So there is a blacksmithing hammer from Borgos as well. So I'm interested in a lot of the first crafts, so while I'm leveling, I'm going to be taking some first crafts to make sure that I'm kind of getting it while I'm getting a skill up for it. And if any of them are too expensive, then I may be foregoing some first crafts in the beginning. This is a very expensive first craft. So I'm going to start with making some core alloy, and I'm going to get up to level 10. Level. Now you can go and buy some profession tools from the auction house if you want to make your ride a little bit easier. You have a chance of multi-craft better or maybe getting some materials back. Alright, so I've gone to level 10 with my core alloy. Going to go back to the trainer. Make myself a repair hammer. Again, this weight stone is a very expensive weight stone. If you want to waste the money on making it just for the first craft, you can, and you might as well do it while there's a chance that it can level you up. So you can even do it in your first 5 levels if you want to have the guaranteed one. And making one of the profession tools. So all the core alloy that we just made is going to be used here. Crystalline powder is a little difficult to get on the auction house right now because of the auction house being a little bit broken. Has me at 14. I'm now going to make some plate pieces. Again, these give me 2 level ups each. Sabatons first. Now breastplate. Back to our trainer. These again can be a little costly on the material side. We're going to have just very poor quality to start, but I'm doing them for my first crafts anyway. Gets me to 20. Let's go ahead and make us a blacksmith's hammer. I got one with crafting speed, not a very useful stat, but we're going to put it on. It's better than nothing, and it gives us +8 skill. Alrighty, back to trainer. Made a blacksmithing toolbox, which we're going to go ahead and equip. Going to give us some resourcefulness and crafting speed, as well as some more skill. Again, this leatherworking tool is quite expensive with the nullstone, so I'll leave it up to you if you want to make that one or not. I'm again doing it for the skill point. Getting us to 34. To our trainer. Let's make a few more of these. Just check and see if it's cheaper to buy a core alloy or make one. Okay, making this while it's yellow because I want my first craft. Helm, gauntlets, to our trainer. Making sure I didn't miss any first crafts. I did forego the leatherworker's knife. Again, the nullstones do get expensive, but you're going to want it eventually for your first craft. I should have done the pauldrons and the leggings first. Some more core alloy. Okay, this puts us at 50. We've learned all the trainer skills. Just gonna go ahead and grab a few of these tempered frameworks. So 1 core alloy and 1 crystalline powder. This is going to be forge framework. We're going to end up making a few of these just to level up. Crystalline powder is quite cheap. If you can get some off the auction house, has been the bit of a challenge. Core alloys are a little bit expensive, around 500 gold each, so not terribly hard, or you can go farming and make your own. I'm going to make my own for right now. You can invest some points. I haven't not put anything in my specializations yet, as you may have noticed. So we're going to now level up with the Forge Framework, as it's one of the cheaper things we can make. Which is why these are next to nothing on the auction house right now. Alright, at 60 is when we start to change to yellow. So we've got a choice we can make right now. So the way that I'm doing this guide is it can take a little bit longer to max level, but it is a much cheaper way of doing it. So I'm going to open up my specializations, and I'm going to get the Ever-Burning Forge. Now, we don't actually need to invest any points, and as we're leveling up, you'll be able to still spec into whatever you want. But this is going to unlock something called the Ever-Burning Ignition, which is going to take us, can take us up to max level. So it's going to take 1 Artisan's Acuity, 5 Crystalline Powder, and 1 Core Alloy. Now, you can only hold 10 of these at a time, and you can only make 5 of them, and there's a cooldown on them, so we've got a 2-hour cooldown on these. So you can slowly make these. You can make 10 and either use them while you're crafting to help give yourself some ingenuity and some multi-craft chance, or just vendor them. But over the next several hours, or several days, we're going to go ahead and we're going to craft these whenever they're up, or even if you're not logging in for a day, you can craft them and get your points for it this way. This is a much cheaper way to get to max level blacksmithing. If you do want to go the expensive route, you can choose whichever spec you wanted to go, whether it's weaponsmithing, armorsmithing, or if you wanted to go into some mass production to get the tools cheaper. So right now, tools, depending on your server, there's probably some money to be made on the various tools that you can make, because everyone is getting their new profession tools and they want to get the best that they can, or at least the greens to start with. Alright, and if your kids are hungry for lunch and stand behind you while you're making a video, don't forget to go make them some lunch. So again, tools, the means of production is a really nice way to make some money initially, depending on how saturated your server is with people who can make high quality tools. This might be a way to go to get some money initially. I myself went between armorsmithing and blacksmithing, so I enjoy making the gear. Again, weaponsmithing is probably one that every server is going to need some good high quality weaponsmiths on. A lot of people's best in slots right now are calling for some weapon options. Armorsmithing, you get limited to just the people who can use plate armor, whereas weaponsmithing, you can make weapons kind of for everyone. So decide which way you'd like to go. By the time you get everything leveled up to 100, you can unlock all of them without actually putting any points in. So it doesn't hurt necessarily to unlock them. Let's unlock weaponsmithing. And the last one I'll be able to unlock once I hit max skill. So I haven't spent any points yet, and I've got 3 of the trees unlocked. You have to decide which one you want to spend points on. But again, the Ever-Burning Forge is at least the one that I'm going to use to level up to 100 for the purpose of this guide. So we're at 60 right now. I would not recommend burning 300 of your Artisan's Acuity yet with the low quality tools. You can always recraft them later, but there is a little bit of cost involved to it. So there are quite a few skill point. We'll say there are quite a few knowledge point vendors where you can use your Acuity to actually purchase them. And then there are also 2 items per zone that are going to give you some extra blacksmithing skill. So let's go ahead and put some of the, I guess, coordinates up now. So we've got here, this guy doesn't have anything explored, but we've got the Isle of Dorn. We've got 2 of them here. The Ringing Deeps, we've got 2 of them. So let's do Isle of Dorn, my unexplored map. Get the coordinates up for them. The Ringing Deeps, my unexplored map. We'll get the coordinates up for those. Hallowfall. Get your Hallowfall coordinates up. And Azj-Kahet. So I will put these in the comments as well. Now we are going to have a few places that you can get some larger amounts of points. So if you have completed your Azj-Kahet quests in the very south of the zone, there is a vendor which you can use to buy some skill points. It's going to be a mix of Kej as your currency and some artisan's acuity. And there is also right in Dornogal where the crafting order people are. We're going to enter their building. We're going to talk to Lyrandal. And they are going to have some blacksmithing plans. So faded blacksmithing diagrams, we've got 200 artisan's acuity for 10 points, 300 for 10 points, and 400 for 10 points. So again, when you purchase them, you get 50 refunded because you're getting 10 points. So you get some artisan's acuity back. But this is a way, as you get more artisan's acuity, that you can keep getting at least 30 skill points from these guys. It is quite handy. There are also some patterns. Again, I may hold off on buying any patterns until you decide what you want to specialize in. The actual knowledge points right now are going to be quite valuable. Now, there is no main blacksmithing quest, so we do have one from... the Artisans Consortium here that'll give a quest for orders. But I don't have a blacksmithing quest itself, and you'll notice now that there are patron orders. So there's a little bit of a different mechanic that they're wanting to use this tier instead of just straight up giving you points. If you click on crafting orders, you've got public. This is going to be anyone who's got a public order up. Keep in mind the Dark Moon Fair is also an easy way to get 3 skill or knowledge points for your various professions. And that has just come up today, and it's up for a week. I mean, depending on when you watch this video, the Dark Moon Fair comes up once a month. So make sure that you go to the Dark Moon Fair and at least get your free knowledge points until you get as deep into whichever chains as you need to. So back to the blacksmithing table. We've now got a tab for public. So this is any public orders that are up. You've got a tab for guild if any of your guildies put orders in just through the guild. And there's also a new one called patron. Now this is an interesting one. It allows people to, it's not people, it's NPCs to put in orders. I really should have looked here first before wasting my own materials on making a weight stone. But this is going to be a way where you can get some extra knowledge points. So there is an expiration on these for how long they last for. You'll notice some of them provide all the materials, some of them provide some materials, and some provide none of the materials. So this is a really good way to check and see before you craft things. If there's a way that you can get some of your first crafts or free crafts done. And you can also proc things like resourcefulness off of some of these. For some of the epic ones, as an example, that can give you extra skill points without costing anything, depending on what tree you go down. This is a pole arm, for example. They want it 2-starred, although they don't include any of these materials, which are quite expensive to buy on your own. So again, it's something you can do to get an easy first craft instead of waiting for a public order. I would recommend at least looking at the ones that provide all the materials to complete them, especially ones that have blacksmithing knowledge. Let's look at the core ally as an example. So if you are close, you can use your concentration to max out. So this one, for example, would take 81 concentration to make this a 2-star. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Just by clicking apply blacksmith concentration, it'll use 81 of your 1000, and this slowly regenerates itself. So I'm not doing anything right now, which is a good use for it, so it can start regenerating. Now that reward is going to get sent to your mailbox. So you have to go to your mailbox to get the two skill points looted. So again, this is something that refreshes fairly regularly. You're going to want to take a look and see what the rewards are, if it's something useful or not, something useful like skill points, or if you're only getting something not as useful like 10 artisans acuity. So they want, 40,000 gold worth of materials to give you essentially nothing for a reward. So just keep that in mind when you're crafting these. Some of them are more worthwhile than others to craft. But this is how you're going to get some extra knowledge points throughout the week. Now, we're at level 60. We do have the option of pushing through our forged framework to just see how many levels we can get, or you can start pushing into your ever-burning ignitions. Again, you can only hold 10 of these at a time. It is a guaranteed level, though. It does use 1 of your artisan's acuity, 5 crystalline powder, and 1 core alloy. So not overly expensive to craft, but it does use the artisan's acuity, which is a little bit on the valuable side of things. So let me just make a few more frameworks and see if I can get some free levels with the yellow craft. Getting lucky so far. Alright, it's turned green. I'm not going to chance any more green crafts because the core alloys still cost at least 500 gold each. If you've got enough to burn, you can keep burning through green to save yourself on some materials. But I am now going to look at the ever-burning ignition. So I'll go ahead and forge one of these, just to show you what it looks like. Now we've got a 1 hour cooldown before we can make another one. So this is going to be a way that you can, at least every hour, if you want to check back on the hour or whenever you can, and you can get yourself a, I don't want to say free skill up, but essentially a free skill up. Okay, so I'm not going to, this has got us to 66 here, and I'm waiting on cooldown. You can spec into weaponsmithing or armor smithing and wait for public orders, or not spend any points and wait to see what you have in the crafting orders for public orders, if you can get something quick enough before it gets taken up by somebody else. So here's a one that requires weaponsmithing as an example. A little bit of gold. Again, you only get so many orders per day, 4 public orders per day. But this is a way, especially for the epic items, that you can get 3 skill ups at a time. Same with your profession tools, if you've got any profession tool orders up. And that's how you're going to get from, essentially from 60 to 100. You can burn through some really expensive things to get it, but for the purpose of my guide, I'm not going to just make epic items to waste. In my previous guides, we did go to the very bottom of either the weaponsmithing or armor smithing chains to unlock the Master's Hammer, and we made Master's Hammers to level up. The cost of that right now is just, it's too high. So you can still do the same thing, go all the way to the bottom of level, and you can make Master's Hammers to level yourself up. But the cost on that is just prohibitively expensive right now. So my add-on's saying to craft 35,000. I think it might be actually more than that. So if you completely finish a weaponsmithing or armor smithing tree, so you can completely finish a tree, which right now is 80 points to get to the very bottom, to get to the Master's Hammer, and you can continue leveling that way, and you can also then repair that slot in your gear. I did not do that, and I'm not recommending that you do that for the purpose of this guide. I'm going to take a little bit of a slower pace to get there, and I'm going to just make ever-burning ignition 1 an hour, and yeah, that's going to get me to max blacksmithing. So I'm not going to show the entire flight, but we are going to go take a little ride. So I've already unlocked the portal to Azj-Kahet because I've finished this on my main. So I can get there really quickly from Dornogal. And we're heading down to the south. You'll fly around until you see the trainers on your map. So I'm now in sort of the northern section of the city here. City of Threads, a little bit to the north. There are several trainers. I'm specifically looking for the blacksmithing trainer. And the blacksmithing supplies. Raka has got 10 blacksmithing knowledge points for 565 cash. So if you got a fresh alt like I'm running right now, it's unfortunately not going to let you purchase it because that's not a currency that is bound to the warband. So you will have to do a few quests in Azj-Kahet to get enough cash to purchase it. But this is one for mining if you've got it, and blacksmithing. 565 cash, which is quite cheap. It's a currency that they give you quite a lot of. And you've got yourself an extra 10 knowledge points here as well. We've got the Smith's Kit right here, which is going to give us 3 knowledge points. So if you've one of your 2 kits for this zone are going to be right here anyway. Alright, so we're back at the crafting table. There are a few more orders that are up right now. Again, check and see what specialization you might need. Got things like daggers, sickle, and the patron orders that you can get. So we're not 100% on this character yet. I was going to wait on 100 before I made the actual video, but that will take several hours to get the rest of it done. So over the next few weeks or days, you can get yourself up to 100 by following this guide the cheap way. or you can go the expensive route and start crafting some expensive epics or master's hammers if you want to go the master's hammers route here. So I hope you guys found this helpful. If you did, please click that like and subscribe button. I would appreciate it a lot. Happy crafting out there, and we will see you guys next time. All right, take care.